Glendalough Distillery was born of a belief that independent Irish whiskey could make a comeback. But first we went away and found our inspiration in the real story of Glendalough, the story of St. Kevin. A son of Irish royalty but a man apart, he disappeared into the mountains and in a deep remote valley became one with the wild. Over 7 years he became the valley itself, the rocks, the trees, the lakes. He was the tree a blackbird laid her eggs in. For 13 days and nights he stood until they hatched, and another 13 until they fledged. It's this image that drives us on. We put it on our bottle to remind us that the beginning is the most important part of the work. And like the Irish monks of the 6th century, we began by making poitín, the world's first distilled drink, the ancient ancestor of whiskey. This magical drink became famous across the known world. Many would come seeking it and other treasures. St. Kevin knew that remoteness was no longer enough to protect Glendalough. So defenses were organized. Walls and towers were built, and great oak doors were braced for impact. In ancient Ireland, oak was revered. It kept out evil spirits, and so the poitín would come to be kept in it. A stroke of genius, or luck, that would colour, age and mellow it, leading to the invention of whiskey. Our double barrel is aged twice, in barrels from far sides of the world. Our 7-year-old single malt commemorates the 7 years St. Kevin lived in the wild and the city of 7 churches he came to build. The 13-year-old, well, that's a whole other story. With our whiskies travelling the world, we returned home and again to the 6th century for inspiration. Word had spread of the man called Kevin, and people flocked to Glendalough. The wild food that grew was organised and cultivated. Natural medicines, herbs and botanicals abounded, and the Garden of Ireland was now distilled and infused in her spirits. So from the mountains, we made a wild botanical gin, a gin from a place and time. But one thing will stay the same: good drinks, with good stories to be told over them. Glendalough Distillery, stand apart.
At Glendalough, we'd been looking for the world's most flavourful oak, and I think we found it in the north of Japan. Mizunara, it's rare and nearly impossible to cooper. We reckon Ireland grows the world's best barley, and Japan the world's best oak. The Japanese believe a red thread of fate connects things that are destined to be together. Like Irish single malt and Japanese oak. It certainly tastes like it was meant to be, that's for sure.
What we're essentially trying to do is we're trying to capture the flavour of the valley of Glendalough in a bottle of gin.
From day one, we always harvest fresh ingredients and put them straight into the still. Like in life, if you start to look at what's around you, you realise that everything you need is here where you're living.
We're trying to give a flavour of Wicklow, or more specifically a flavour of Glendalough. We want you to be transported to the valley of Glendalough, and we think we've nailed it.